Hi there. IP Law Workshop number 8, Trademarks and Leveraging Commercial Interests. We've moved on from patents last week, and now we're going to spend a couple of weeks looking at a sort of a cross-section of different IP rights or pseudo-IP rights around trademarks, passing off, so on. So some of these, like passing off, are torts. Some of these, like trademarks, are often considered IP, even though, and in textbooks, it troubles me sometimes that textbooks call them IP, but they're not actually property or intellectual property as such. In fact, they're more restrained on business, and I think that will help you understand some of the overlap and some of the confusion between patents and trademarks and copyright. And that can get kind of confusing at times. But one of the things, particularly in the border between copyright and trademarks, to really remember is copyright is about the creative work, it's about the creation of a particular thing. The trademark is about the right to carry on business using that particular image or even sound or smell. But the right to do that and the right to prevent other people from trading in that same area using that image. So it's quite a different right. It's not a right in terms of using, property, or it has no issue around the public domain or those sorts of things. Trademarks are really around business. So it helped me when I finally realised that, hang on, this is actually something that looks like copyright, but it's actually a completely different area of law. It's not a property right. And the same with passing off. Passing off, which prevents you kind of using someone else's image or goodwill to promote your product. It's a tort. And what it is it's kind of like almost a misappropriation tort where you're misappropriating someone's goodwill. So again, it's not about intellectual property as such. It's about you coming along and doing the oldie thing and putting your Monte Carlo biscuits in similar packets so that people will be fooled. Although I don't think anyone going to Aldi is fooled by this, but supposedly fooling people by trading on the goodwill of a similarly packaged, similarly composed biscuit. So it may seem a little pedantic, but I think it's very important to keep some of those differences really separate when we go into this week. And the workshop this week is really based around those commercial rights and thinking about the leveraging of commercial rights and commercial interests and what you have to do to protect that image going on and going forward. There's a few more bits and pieces tied into this week, largely because some of them we just needed a place to put them. There's an interesting debate around personality rights and where they fit and where they should go. And it often overlaps here too, because we're increasingly getting to the stage where a celebrity's personality is seen as part of their kind of goodwill and their good business in the same way as the trademark of McDonald's. You don't want someone opening next door with McDougal's with a red, a slightly different coloured golden arch and trading on the same image. We're seeing a very strange move into these personality rights that once started out as privacy rights, but are moved into these personality rights of celebrities to exploit their image and to commercialise their image. And that's, again, one of the fascinatingly weird areas of IP law. I know this is my area, and I'm more enthused about it than many people would be, and I'm sure some of you are bored stiff by IP law. But one of the things I find fascinating about it is so weird. And even as you go on as a lawyer, as you become more experienced, it becomes weirder and weirder. So we end up in a situation now where we're starting to think of celebrities as somehow owning this kind of virtual personality they've created. And, it's only a matter of time before we start looking at, is someone passing off when they start, modelling their image on someone else? Is Miley Cyrus stealing the goodwill of Madonna, who is stealing the goodwill of Marilyn Monroe, who is stealing the goodwill of whoever beforehand? We're living in strange times, and we're living in a time where people are wanting more and more protection of commercial interests, and as lawyers we're being called upon to create strategy, not just to sit there and say, as your lawyer, these are what your rights are and this is what you should do, but to actually say, we're cross-disciplinary now. What we need to be able to be strategic and to develop strategies for exploiting interests and protecting interests and so on. So, again, interesting times to go into IP practice if that's something that you're at all interested in. So, I think that's mostly covered the introduction. We're at 5 minutes now, so time for me to upload this and see you in the workshop.